to your Tuesday Maths. Okay, so it is now the 2nd of February 2021 and we are continuing with lesson 2 of time, and today we are going to be learning the number of minutes that are in 1 hour. Okay children, it's now time to practice your 4 times tables. So, as always, go ahead and follow the YouTube link to the video. You might even know some of the words by now, so you can start to sing along. And then come back and try to answer some of the questions that you can see on the board. Okay, it's now time for our do now. If you've got the worksheet in front of you, it might be a good idea for us to complete this now together. If you've got a piece of paper and something to write with, then you can complete it along with us too. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do in our do now is look at the clocks, which it tells us quite clearly to do that at the top there. So I'm going to look at the top clocks now. I can see that this one here shows 6 o'clock, one shows 12 o'clock, one shows 4 o'clock, one shows 2 o'clock, and one over here shows 10 o'clock. Okay, so we can see that the little hand, the hour hand, is pointing to the hour, and the larger hands, the longer ones, the minute ones, are pointing, all of them are pointing to 12. Okay, so that just means that when it's pointing at 12, we say o'clock. Okay, so let's have a look what it says for us to do next. Now it is asking us to circle the clock which shows a time between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. So if we were to look at a clock, we would see that 3 o'clock is here and 5 o'clock is here. Is there anything on this clock that shows a time between 3 and 5? No, there isn't. Let's look at the next clock. There's 3 o'clock, there's 5 o'clock. Is there a time that's showing in between? Is the hour hand pointing to any numbers in between those numbers? No, it's not, is it? Let's have a look at this one. 3 and 5. Is there anything in between? Is the hour hand pointing in between any of those numbers? No, it's not, is it? And we know that that one's not pointing between. Number 5 is not pointing in between because it's all the way up there. Now let's have a look at number 3. We've got number 3 there and number 5, so 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. We've noticed that in this one, the hour hand is pointing somewhere in between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. Maybe, based on what I've just told you about the hour hand, you could have a go at saying what time you think that clock is showing in between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock. What was that, everyone? 4 o'clock. Super work, everybody. Remember, we just write the hour that the hour hand is pointing. So in this case, it's pointing at 4. And then we write O. We do a funny little apostrophe and write clock. Okay, so well done everybody. We've now completed our do now. Let's move on to the next slide. Okay children, just like yesterday, here is your big picture. Have a look at the things that can be measured within the picture. Now, today I've noticed that in this picture there is a swimming race happening, and I can see the man at the very front of the picture, so this guy here, he's got a stopwatch, and I think that he is recording the times for the race. So that is something, the time is something that can be measured because the time it takes for the swimmers to finish the race is something that can be measured. Why not pause the video here and have a little chat with people around you, or think about independently all the things that you can see that can be measured within this picture. Off you go. Okay children, it's now that part of the lesson which you all seem to really enjoy. It's our subtitling time. So remember, eyes on the screen, count the dots as quickly as you can. Okay, first job is to count how many red dots you can see. Great job everyone. Eyes on the screen. How many green dots can you see? Excellent work. And again, how many green dots can you see in this representation? Super work. And this time, I'd like you to count how many yellow shapes that you can see. Well done, everybody. Okay, children, now it's time to review. So watch out to see if you were correct. In the first one, we were asking you to look for those red dots. Well done if you said that you'd spotted 3. The next one, we were looking for the green dots. Well done if you said 2. And the third one, again, we were looking for those green dots. And here we can see that there are 1, 2. And finally, we were asking you to have a look for those yellow shapes. And I can confirm that there were 4 yellow shapes. So a huge well done if you managed to get some or all of these correct. I'm really proud of you, and I'm very impressed with your subtitling skills. They've really come on in the last couple of weeks. Okay, my turn, your turn for our new vocabulary. Hour, minute, hour hand, minute hand, scale. Excellent, so they're all our new words that we're going to be using throughout today's maths lesson. Okay, let's have a look at this clock and see if there's anything that you can tell me about it. You may have seen this clock at school. It's a really helpful clock when we're learning to tell the time. What I would like you to do now is maybe pause the video and either have a think or a discussion about what you notice about this clock. Is there anything that you know about it that you can tell somebody else? Off you go, pause the video and see what you can remember. Some of you may have noticed that the red hand is the hour hand. So the smaller one of the two is the hour hand. And it points to the numbers on the red scale. So here you will see the numbers 1 through till 12. And we learned all about that yesterday, when we learned that the clock goes round twice to make sure that there's 24 hours in one full day are covered. So it goes round once for the daytime and once for the night time. So the red hand is the hour hand, and it points to the numbers on the red scale. Well, if we know about the red hand, what about the blue hand? The blue hand is the minute hand, and it points to all of the numbers that are in blue on the clock. Now I know that you might not be able to see it very clearly on there, but in between each of those numbers on the hours, so here, these numbers in between, there are little blue dots. I'll just highlight them so you can see them a little bit better. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so there's 4 little dots, and then there's a number 5 just where the number 1 is. I'll put a circle around it. No, it's very small, but hopefully you get the gist of that. So between each of them, there is a scale of 4 dots, and then next to the big hour number, there is another little number. Okay, now I wonder if any of you have ever noticed this before on some clocks that you may have seen, okay? Now, we're going to continue with our learning and find out why this is. Okay, children, let's listen carefully. It takes 1 hour for the minute hand, or the blue hand if you like, the longer one, to go all the way around the clock. Now, if we were to look at this clock, how many minutes are there altogether? So have a look here where it starts. Remember, this is our number 1. Have a look where it starts and have a look where it ends. Well done if you said that there are 60 minutes in 1 hour, because for the minute hand to go all the way around the clock and pass through all of those different numbers and end on 60 before it begins again, that would be 1 hour, okay? So when we're looking at it, we can notice the scale, so we can see that the minute hand will tick all the way around just like this. And when it's done 1 full turn of the circle and gets to 60, that's when it starts again, okay? So that's 1 hour complete, and then it will start again on another hour, okay? Okay, children, I hope you are looking at that clock on the last slide very carefully, because I have a question just for you. My question is, what do you notice about the minutes that you've seen on the clock before? You may want to pause the video now and have a little chat about what you notice about the minutes on an analogue clock. Okay, children, well done if you noticed that they are all multiples of 5. The scale, if we look at this clock, goes up in 5s, doesn't it? It starts at 5 and it goes all the way around until it gets to 60, okay? And I've just got a little demonstration for you now. So remember, when the minute hand has made its way all the way around the clock until it gets to 60 or 12 o'clock, when it gets to the number 12 on the clock, shall I say, that means that it's been 1 full hour. So let's watch how the minute hand does that now. And as we count, as it goes around, I'd like us to count in our 5 times tables as it passes each of those numbers. Shall we give it a try? Let's go. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55 and 60. Well done if you kept up there, because that was a tricky one. It went slowly at first and then it sped up and then it went slow again. How crazy. Now on a usual clock that doesn't happen. It goes nice and smoothly around the clock, but I'm sure you got the general idea there, that as we go around the clock we can count in our multiples of 5 until we get to 60, and then the cycle begins again, because that would be 1 hour complete and the next hour would be beginning. Okay, I am now going to set you all a little timer. What I would like you to do is I'm just finding my timer. There we go. I would like you all, I'm going to set it for 1 minute. I would like you to close your eyes and count in ones up to 60. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just like that, okay? You're going to keep going until you get all the way up to 60, okay? So I'd like you to see if your counting is accurate, because in 1 minute there are 60 seconds. So what I would like you to do is I'd like you to close your eyes now. And you might want to open your eyes when you think that you've reached that 1 minute marker, okay? And what we'll do is we'll have a little bit of a competition to see who can manage to have the same timing as me, okay? So I've got my 1 minute timer on. And another thing, sorry children, is you may want to use a word in between. So you might want to say 1 dinosaur, 2 dinosaur, 3 dinosaur, to help you to keep the right pace, okay? Because we don't just want you to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, because that won't be counting a minute, okay? So you've got to really focus and you've got to really think about beating my timer. Okay, children, close your eyes and get ready. I'll count you in. 1, 2, 3, go. You're about halfway. And stop. Open your eyes. That is 1 minute. So a huge well done if you managed to count accurately there and really focused and managed to count it along with Miss Thompson and to stop at the right time. Now, if you want to, just for fun, you might want to rewind the video and try that again to see if you can improve, okay? So I hope you have fun with that little activity for our talk task today. And remember, it was just helping you to see that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute and there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. Okay? Well done, everyone. Okay, children, I've got a game for you ready to develop our learning a little bit further. Now, this game is called Hours or Minutes. I'm going to read some of the things off the screen that you can see, and I want you to decide whether it takes hours to complete this activity or whether it takes minutes, okay? So let's have a little look. I'm going to choose one at random. Let's go for assembly, okay? Does assembly take hours or minutes? Okay, so you might want to pause the video now and maybe have a discussion if you're in class, or if you're at home, you might just want to pause the video and say it out loud and then come back and I will reveal the answer. Does assembly take hours or minutes? Well, assembly usually only lasts a couple of minutes, especially when we're at school or we're remote learning. Our assemblies only take usually about 15 minutes, okay? Let's pick another one. Oh, what do we think about this one? Traveling to America. Do we think it takes hours or minutes? Pause the video, off you go. Excellent, well done if your discussion or your shout out of what it was hours, because it does indeed take lots of hours to fly on an aeroplane to a different country, and this country is America in this case, and you are certainly right, it would be nice for it to take minutes to fly to America from England, but actually it takes a couple of hours for us to fly from England to America. Okay everyone, now you might want to pause the video here and maybe have a go at identifying whether some of the other things take minutes or hours to complete. If you want to write it down, then that's perfectly fine and you can send that across to your teacher a little bit later on. Okay, Now, what's the same and what's different? I would like you to think about which box should be ticked to say how we would measure the event, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to estimate how long it would actually take us to do each of these things, okay? So here, for example, you've got a statement. The statement is eat breakfast, okay? And we've got to decide whether eating breakfast takes us hours or minutes, okay? Then we've got to think about how many minutes it might take us to eat our breakfast. So, pause the video, have a little go. What do you think the possibilities could be? Does it take hours or minutes to eat breakfast? And how many hours or minutes does it take? Excellent, well done if you said it takes minutes to eat your breakfast. And usually it takes around 5 minutes to eat our breakfast, doesn't it? Well, actually, for my little Ellis, it takes her hours to eat her breakfast because she's such a slow coach and she doesn't stop talking. She always wants to tell me all about everything when we're having our breakfast. Okay, let's look at this one then. What about our day at school? Does it take hours or does it take minutes? Pause the video and have a little chat. Well done if you said it takes hours at school. And in fact, there are 6 hours in the school day. A huge well done if you managed to estimate that number. Okay, time for our next one. Break time. Does break time last hours or minutes? And how many minutes or hours does it take? Pause the video. Excellent. Break time lasts for just minutes. And in fact, our usual break times last 15 minutes in total. Okay, children, I'm now going to talk you through the main activity. So let's listen carefully as Miss Thompson explains. So in the first part, that is your do now. Now I did explain the do now when we were on that slide a little bit earlier on, and hopefully you've managed to complete that part of the worksheet. If you haven't, please go back to the do now slide and you can have some more information about how you would go about completing that activity. Now down below on the main activity, what we are doing is we are identifying the missing minutes, okay? So the minute scale we're looking at for this one. So for example, if we were to go around each of the hour times where it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and so on, what would the minutes look like? Okay, so what I'm talking about here is I'm talking about that scale, the scale of skip counting by 5s, okay? So next to the number 1, we would do a 5 because we know that 1 times 5 is 5. Excellent. Next to the number 2, we would write a 10 because we know 2 times 5 is 10. And remember, our scale is multiples of 5. If that's the pattern, 5, 10, what would go in this box here? 15, superb, because we know that 3 times 5 is 15. What about next to the number 4 then? What would come next in our pattern? Well done, 20, because we know 4 times 5 is 20. Brilliant, and you will keep going until you've managed to fill all of those missing boxes in, okay? So you're finding the minute scale as you go around the clock. Underneath that, so just here, your next activity is the think about estimating, okay? So you're going to be estimating how long it would take for each of the activities that you can see on your worksheet. So we've already been doing lots of work on that during our developed learning. So you just need to continue this and put it into practice now, and you're going to decide how many minutes or how many hours each of the activities that are listed take, okay? And down on the chili challenge, you're going to be doing something similar to what you were doing in your main activity, but I'm just going to challenge you that little bit further. So rather than doing the scale of the minutes around the clock, you're going to be focusing on the hours. So remember, when it's the hours, it's the bigger numbers that we can see. And remember, the scale for that is we're counting up in ones because it goes from 1 all the way around the clock until it gets to 12. So have a little go and see how you get on at putting in the hour scale as well for the ones that are listed on the bottom of your worksheet. Now, I hope that you get on okay with your independent task today. As always, if you need extra support or guidance, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And also, if you fancy a little bit of a fun activity, then please head on over to the next slide and I will explain my little fun activity that I've got for you if you finish all of your work. Okay? Excellent job, everybody. Good listening, and I cannot wait to see your work a little bit later on. Okay, the final part of today's activity. I thought this would be just a little bit of fun for you to get on with if you maybe finish your work that little bit earlier. So in your plenary today, I would like you to make up some sentences or a story with silly times. So listen to mine. I woke up at 7 o'clock in the evening. That's a bit silly, isn't it? We don't wake up in the evening, we wake up in the morning. And I ate my breakfast in 10 seconds. Does it really take 10 seconds to eat your breakfast? That must have been so fast, Miss Thompson. Before I went to school, I brushed my teeth for 3 hours. So can you see how I've used some silly timings to make my story quite funny? Okay, so remember, I had 7 o'clock in the evening, breakfast in 10 seconds. That was a crazy one, wasn't it? Oh, it's not letting me draw now. And I brushed my teeth for 3 hours. That's just crazy because usually it does not take hours to brush our teeth. It takes minutes, doesn't it? Okay, everyone. So I hope you have fun with that activity as well. It's just a little bit of an added extra for you, and I can't wait to hear your silly stories later on. Bye-bye for now, everybody, and I'll see you for some more maths tomorrow.